Hello, today we will be covering the topic of parallel lines, transversals, and angle relations. The learning goals are number one, to understand the definition of parallel and transversal lines, and two, understand the relation of the angles generated by intersecting two parallel lines with a transversal line. First, let's start with what parallel lines are. Parallel lines are two or more lines in the same plane that never intersect. They are always at the same distance apart. This is an example of two lines, line M and line P. The way we say that these lines are parallel is by using this symbol here. That symbol indicates line M is parallel to line P. We don't have to write the words line. We can just say M parallel to P, because here in this graph we establish that M and P are lines. Now, are lines Q and R parallel lines? The answer is no. Parallel lines run along each other and never intersect. They keep the same distance. They will never intersect no matter how far we extend on each direction. These two lines intersect, therefore they are not parallel lines. They are intersecting lines. Are lines A and B parallel lines? No. Again, these lines intersect, so they are intersecting lines. Moreover, these are perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines are lines that intersect each other at a 90-degree angle, as shown here. And this symbol here, this T upside down, means that perpendicular relation. So it reads A is perpendicular to B. Now we'll check what adjacent angles are. Adjacent angles are those angles that are always placed next to each other in such a way that they share a common vertex and a common arm or ray. They do not overlap. So here we have three examples of angles. Let's start analyzing the first one. Are A and B adjacent angles? The answer is yes. They share a common vertex, which is right here. They share a common ray as one of their arms, and they do not overlap. So yes, A and B are adjacent angles. How about C and D? Are they adjacent angles? No, they overlap. D overlaps with C. It means that D is occupying a space or part of the angle C. So therefore they are not adjacent. How about these two, E and F? We can see that they share one ray in common. Are they adjacent? They are not, because E has a different vertex than F. To be adjacent, they have to have the same vertex. They have to share a ray, which they do, and they should not overlap. E and F do not overlap, they share a ray, but they do not share a vertex that is in common for both of them. Now let's take a look at another concept, the concept of vertical angles. When two lines cross each other, like these two lines, they form four angles: A, B, C, and D. Vertical angles are those that are directly across from each other at the intersection. Vertical angles are always congruent. So right here we see that A is across C. So A and C would be vertical angles. Also B is directly across D. So B and D are also vertical angles. A would be congruent with C because vertical angles have the same measurement, the same degrees. So A is congruent with angle A is congruent with angle C, and angle B is congruent with angle D. Now let's take a look at the concept of complementary and supplementary angles. Two angles are complementary when they add up to 90 degrees. For example, a 30-degree angle and a 60-degree angle. They are complementary because if you add 30 plus 60, you get 90 degrees. If they give you a graph like this, you understand that this is a perpendicular angle formed by these two rays, those two black rays. So A plus B will be 90 degrees. So A and B are complementary. Now, two angles are supplementary when they add up to 180 degrees. Examples are 80 and 100 degrees. If you add these two angles, you get 180 degrees. If you have a graph like this, you should know that A plus B is 180. 180 degrees goes all the way from this ray here all the way to the other ray. So that was 180 degrees. And here A plus B together are 180 degrees. So A and B are supplementary. Now let's analyze pairs of angles generated when two parallel lines are intersected by a transversal line. Right here we have two lines that are parallel to each other, M and P. Now we draw a transversal line, line T. Transversal line is a line that intersects the two parallel lines. So line T is transversal to M and is transversal to P. Now let's check what angles are generated. We generate angle A, angle B. Now remember, A has a vertical angle here on the opposite side, which will also be A. And B has a vertical angle here on the opposite side, which will also be B. So we have two A's and two B's on this side here. Now let's take a look at these four angles on the upper part. If we move the angles from the lower part up, we see that they overlap with the upper part. And the reason why is because these two lines, M and P, are parallel. So again, when we move the line P all the way up, we realize that AB repeat here in the upper part. So we have a situation when if we know one angle, A, we can know the angle B because it's supplementary. A plus B are 180. If A is 60, B is 120. And now if we know both of them, we know all of them because there is only A and B angles in this graph. So now if A is 60, B is 120, A is 60, B 120, A 60, B 120, A 60, B 120. So again, once you know one of these angles, you know them all. That's a very important property we have to remember of parallel lines intersected by a transversal. Now let's take a look at some names that label these angles. The first is corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are located in the same relative position. So if we move this line P all the way up, E and A are going to overlap. Also, F and B are going to overlap. G and C will overlap as well, and H and D will overlap. So we can say that A and E are corresponding. D and H are also corresponding. B and F corresponding as well. And C and D corresponding. Just remember, corresponding angles are congruent. They measure the same. So basically, A and E have the same value, right? If A is 60, E is 60, as we saw before. D and H, same thing, same value. If D is 120, H is 120. B and F, same values. If B is 120, F is 120. And C and G are also congruent. If C is 60, G is 60. Now let's look at what interior angles are. Interior angles are located in between the interior of the two parallel lines. So basically we have lines M and line P here. All the space that is in between these lines will be the interior. Let's color that light blue. And all the angles in the interior part are called interior angles. So C, D, F, and E, all of them are interior angles. Exterior angles will be the angles on the outside. So AB, GH are on the outside of these two parallel lines. So they are called exterior angles. Now, alternate angles are located on opposite sides of the transversal line. They can be either interior or exterior. And as we will see, they are congruent. So, for example, A and G, they are alternate because A is on the right side of the transversal and G is on the left side of the transversal. And they are exterior because they are on the outside. So they are called alternate exterior. Alternate because they are on opposite sides of the transversal. Exterior because they are on the exterior part. Now, B and H will also be alternate and also exterior. C and E will be alternate because they are on opposite sides of the transversal, and they will be interior, so they are alternate interior. And finally, F and D, they are also alternate because they are on opposite sides of the transversal, and they are interior, so they are alternate interior. Now, to finalize this presentation, we'll look at same-side angles, also known as consecutive angles. Those are pairs of angles that are on the same side of the transversal line and are either also interior or exterior. For example, A and H, both are on the same side, on the right side of the transversal, and they are exterior, so they are known as same-side exterior. B and G, same thing. They are on the same side of the transversal and they are exterior, so B and G are also same side exterior. D and E, they are also on the same side, but they are interior, so they are same side interior. And finally, C and F, they will be also same side interior. They are on the same side of the transversal and they are interior. Well, thank you very much for your attention.